Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and swap out my stock rims for the Continental GT 650 with a set of new OEM aluminum alloy rims. And the main reason I'm doing this is just to be wary of punctures. I had a puncture on the Z900 and it was just a matter of time before it happened with Royal Enfield, and it's just way easier to patch a puncture with a tubeless tire. So I got the alloy rims here for that purpose. I'm also hoping to get a slight weight benefit. I don't know if that's going to be the case or not though, because these are aluminum and the stock rims are already aluminum. So really the biggest difference is the spokes, I think. Steel spokes versus aluminum spars there in the forged, or the alloy rims. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. Also, I think they look good. So that's another reason I want to do it, and the care and the maintenance of them. I don't have to worry about spokes getting loose or anything like that. It's just easier to deal with. So what I'm going to do is, during this process, I'm going to weigh stuff and give you data as I go, and see what kind of weight savings I actually get, and we'll go from there. So right now, I've already weighed these, and I will be giving you that clip in a second. After this, I have tires at Cycle Gear. I ordered the Battlax 46s for it. Front wheel is 110/90/18, and the rear wheel is 140/70/18, and that's what's on there currently. It's currently the Sport Demons are on there, Sport Demons, and I could not find a rear tire for those in stock anywhere, so I had to switch to the Battlax 46s. There aren't too many choices for what I'm doing, and I'm getting one size bigger than stock, so that's what's currently on there. So I'll be able to give you a direct weight comparison between the two, except I believe the Battlax 46s are going to be a little bit heavier. But also in general, they won't have a tube in them, so I believe that's going to save me like 2 pounds per wheel, maybe. We'll see. But alright, so I'm going to go ahead and cut to the weighing process here. Alright guys, this is the results of the weighing of the rims themselves, or the wheels, without the rotors or anything on them, and no rubber. Just got them out of the box. The rear wheel weighs about 15 pounds, weighed on my bathroom scale. The front wheel weighs about 12 pounds, and weighed together, they are about 26 pounds. So 26 to 27 pounds for the set, and 15 and 12. So nice. Alright guys, I'm getting ready to do some work on these right now, and just want to show you that the wheels, they come with the bearings and the grease fittings already to hold the bearings in. So this whole project is just going to be basically swapping the sprocket and the push drive and the 2 rotors, and then taking it in to get rubber. So that's pretty good. Don't have to completely disassemble the existing wheel and replace every single part of it. So I'm going to go ahead and get started disassembling these wheels. I'm going to take them both in at the same time. Initially, I was just going to take the rims in like this and get tires on them, but they're going to get balanced, so I kind of want to get them balanced with the rotors and the sprocket on there. So let's get started. Alright guys, I'm at the front wheel on the right side. The first step in this process is going to be removing the front pinch bolt to get the front tire off. It is a number 6 hex. Alright, next step is to remove the axle. So it's going to be a 16mm wrench to hold it still on this side. And on this side I got a 24mm socket on a breaker bar. Alright, cut the nut and the washer off there. Now I'm just going to use a mallet and tap through the axle there. Alright, got the axle out, came out this way, and off this right side of the tire here, the spacer, pull that out, and on this side over here, just disconnected the speedometer. So this thing is wheels ready to come out, and I'm going to remove the front rotor. Alright, I got the front wheel on the side here. These bolts on the rotor are number 13s, and they've been sitting in a PB blaster all night. I sprayed them last night. Also the ones on the rear and for the sprocket. So. Alright, got everything off the front rotor there. I think this is something to do with the ABS. And I weighed everything. The front tire altogether weighs 29 pounds. And this rotor assembly and the bolts that came with it are 5 pounds. And that pretty much jives with what I did when I swapped out my wheels for the during the big bore project. So the total weight of this front wheel has not changed. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and attach the rotor and the ABS ring back onto the front tire. The torque specs for this is 10 Newton meters. Make sure you start them with your hand because, you know, it's a new thread and it's aluminum. You want to mess it up right from the start. And I'm using a little bit of blue Loctite. I realize it's a red container, but this is blue. Alright. Alright guys, I weighed the new front tire with the new front rim with the rotor attached onto it, and the weight is 18 pounds. So that means the rotor assembly is probably 5 to 6. It's probably a little bit more than 5. So that means I have like 11 pounds to play with on the actual tire weight to come in under what I have existing, but I think it's going to be pretty close, maybe a little bit over. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the rear wheel removal, and that's going to involve 24 millimeter socket on this, and on this side just going to put a screwdriver through here to hold it in place to keep it from spinning. Alright, so I got the bolt and the washer off, so the next thing you're going to do is pound this through a little bit with a mallet. When you're doing that, take note of how the brake, rear brake is aligned here on this post, because you're going to have to put it back in later, and it's not always super easy. Also, there's going to be 2 spacers. One's going to come out the right side, one's going to come out the left side. So take a look at them, make sure you note in your mind their alignment if they're shaped weird. Alright, I got the washer out, or I'm sorry, the rear axle out. Just what I do when I do this is I lay things out. I don't have to do this, but that way I know how to put everything back. So this is the left side spacer. You can see it's got a little flange on it. Goes in like that. This is the right side. Goes in like this. Also has a flange on it. So, alright, I'm going to go ahead and pull this the rest of the way out and start disassembling it. Alright guys, got the rear wheel off. I got the rotor side down on a piece of cardboard here. Make sure you don't mess that up. And I got this sprocket side up. And this is a number 8 hex key. And I'm going to go ahead and remove these. These have also been sitting in PB Blaster overnight. So, alright guys, those sprocket bolts were really in there really good. So I didn't want to wrestle with them and risk messing up the rotor. So I took the rotor out first, and that came out really easy. These are number 5 hex bolts, and I'm just going to keep everything aligned. Flip it back over and start working on the sprocket some more. Maybe hit it with some PP Blaster for a while. Alright, well, here's something I wasn't expecting. When I started messing with it, I realized that this whole sprocket thing is loose, and you actually don't need to take those screws off. It just sits right in the cush drive. It's got this spacer here with the cone point, with the coney edge going into the hub. Yeah, this thing just pops right out. Alright, cool. Alright guys, so next thing we have to do is just remove the cush drive, which is these little rubber plugs that are in here. These are supposed to be one-time use, but I'm probably going to reuse the same ones personally. They seem fine. So, I'll pry these out, and then this thing will be all done. I can start putting the other one together. Alright guys, I got the new rear wheel, and I'm getting ready to attach the rotor onto it. It is 25 Newton meters of force required to torque it down, and make sure that you're cleaning out the threads and stuff and not forcing anything. Do everything by hand first because it is aluminum, and this is the first time these threads have been used, right? So be careful. And also use a little bit of blue Loctite. Alright guys, I got the rotor back on. I did not tighten down to 25 Newton meters. It just didn't feel right. just like because they were like not that tight when I took them off, so I did them to about 15. I really didn't want to strip them out, so we'll just see how that rolls. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and put the cush drive in and the sprocket just for weighing purposes, and then I'm going to take those back out before I send it in because they'll just fall out when the dude's doing the wheel anyway. So, alright guys, went ahead and did some weigh-ins. The existing tire that was on the bike was 33 pounds fully assembled for the rear. This one without the rubber but fully assembled is 22 pounds, so it gives me like 11 pounds of tire. We'll see. I'm pretty sure I'm going to come in over that. So, yeah, hopefully when I get these all assembled, I'll do another weigh-in and we'll get the exact comparison. And also something else to note, like when I swapped out my tires during the big bore kit, the Sport Demons and the Phantom comps, they were exactly the same weight on the bike, like this set. On the Sport Demons, the rear tire was actually 3 pounds lighter, and the front tire was 3 pounds heavier. But other than that, they were identical weight for a set. So this will be a valid comparison if you're using stock tires. Alright guys, I'm back from getting the tires fitted on the wheels. I did a final weigh-in. The total set is 70 pounds, which is 8 pounds heavier than the stock. But that is with these different tires. And so the front tire was a pretty much even, and the rear tire, or entire wheel assembly, appears to be 8 pounds heavier than what I was running. So, which was about 62 pounds total. So it's interesting. I think maybe 4 to, I don't know how much of it is the tire itself. So I'm going to guess at least 4 pounds is the tire. So the rims themselves are probably pretty close, but I really think these tires are heavier because Perrellis are known for being light. So with that being said, I am running without tubes now, so that's like another couple pounds off. So I'm going to say weight savings probably not going to happen with these alloy wheels. So I'm going ahead and I'm putting them back on right now. I got the front mounted up. Do yourself a favor, take the brake calipers off before you try and put it on, because when the shoes start dropping out of them, it's a big pain in the ass. Now so it's in the way. It's easier to pull them off. The torque spec on this is 70 Newton meters on the front here, and the pinch bolt right through here is 25 Newton meters. Alright guys, I'm going to show you a trick to getting the back wheel back on. So it's got 2 spacers on either side, and they will like fall out continually. So what you want to do is take the wheel on the ground behind the bike and roll it forward a little bit, and put the chain on the sprocket first, and then roll it back some, and set the axle like that, just like barely in, just hanging here by its threads. And then put the 2 spacers in, and don't worry too much about this brake yet. Don't worry about getting that seated correctly yet. Once you get the 2 spacers in, pick up the tire and get this side seated, and hopefully the other spacer's still in. And to get them to stick in, use a bunch of axle grease and pack it in where they go. It'll like keep them in place like low strength glue. And even if you don't do that, they'll just keep falling out. So, and once you got it set like that, you can push the axle in a little bit into the first spacer, into the hub, and then you can seat the brakes on the right. Stuff, yeah. Then you can seat the brakes on the right. So I hope that makes sense. If you've ever tried to do this, you probably know what I'm talking about. So once you get the brakes seated a little bit, then you can start pushing the axle through, and the axle goes through a hole in the brakes and also through the other spacer. So at this point, it should be just pretty much a direct drive through. Alright guys, while you're doing this, if while you're driving the axle through, you notice the right-hand spacers popped out, pull the brakes, the rear brake off here. Don't pull the axle all the way back out. You can back it off a little bit, but just unseat the brake, go in and reseat the spacer on the right side, and then reseat the brake, and go ahead and continue driving it through. You just have to adjust a little bit on the right side, and you shouldn't have any issues. Also, make sure when you're done, when you think you're done, that you verify both of those spacers are still attached to the axle on both sides, because if you torque it down and they fell out, you're going to bend your frame. Alright guys, so for the final part in the rear wheel, you want to tighten it down to 70 Newton meters, just like the front wheel. And make sure you use an axle grease as you go through the process, and re-grease your axles and various areas. In summary, it added 8 pounds. I think probably half of that is the tire. It's all the rear tire that gained weight, so it's probably half the rim and half the tire that I chose. So obviously you're not going to save any weight by going to these, but if you just want to have a direct fit of new rims and you want them to have the same size and ratio and not mess with your speedometer, just be a direct fit OEM, it's a good choice, and they look sick. I think they look really good on the bike, so I'm happy with that. I wish they were lighter, but all in all, it's nice to not have to worry about getting a tire puncture. So can't say I recommend it or don't recommend it. If it was lighter, I'd say yeah, go for it. The price I paid on these rims, I paid $420 for them shipped and taxed on eBay. I'll put a link in the description. I'll put a link to the tires I got also in the description. I can't really say if they're good or not yet, but it's hard to find tires for this bike in 18 with the sizes I want. So, alright, so thanks for watching, guys. I hope that was helpful. Have a good one.